Happy Tuesday, Frank Rock, House of Orange Sports Channel coming at you. Kim Caldwell has completed her first coaching staff as head coach of the Lady Vols basketball program. It was announced today. Brought you a video yesterday where I talked about a couple guys who were unofficially hired. It wasn't official today. They have officially announced the hirings of 4 assistant coaches. Let's, with no further ado, get into that. Assistant number 1 was Roman Tubner, associate head coach and recruiting coordinator at Alabama. He's going to join Kim Caldwell's initial staff. Gabe Lazo, who was just like a few days ago promoted to associate head coach at Mississippi State. He's joining Kim Caldwell's staff. And then she brings with her from Marshall, Jenna Burdett and Angel Reiser. Okay. So that first staff is in place. It's taken care of. So a little bit about each of them. All right. They were pretty excited and they talked about them. So with Tubner, 3 seasons working at Alabama, promoted to associate head coach prior to the 23-24 season. And in 2019, he was selected to the Women's Basketball Coaches Association 30 under 30 top 50 most impactful assistants. He helped Alabama to 3 consecutive 20-win seasons. And, this year they just had a 24-win campaign as well. So he was a big-time recruiter in this. And it says he recruited and assisted in development of 2 all-SEC players and an SEC all-freshman selection 23-24 and helped land a 23 class ranked number 11 by ESPN Women's and a portal class ranked 25. All right, so that's and he's been an assistant. I've talked about that for 10 years at UNC, at Ball State, UNC Wilmington, Indiana State, Austin Peay, Arkansas Tech. Continued to work his way up on the way. Lazo, he started as a high school women's coach in South Florida, worked his way up along the way as well. It says right here, his ability to identify talent, build relationships was critical to the Bulldogs landing the number 3 transfer class ahead of the 23-24 campaign. And they secured highly regarded classes over the past 2 signing classes, including the 16th ranked class for 22-23. How about that? Somebody bringing in a recruit. Novel concept, eh? Hadn't happened in Knoxville in a couple years with the Lady Vols. Yet we're going to complain about Kim Caldwell letting go of coaches. Here's a little known fact that we are forgetting with Kim Caldwell and her staff. When Danny White announced the firing of Kelly Harper, it was mentioned in that statement. If you didn't pay attention to the writing, it always pays off to read and listen to things. If you did not read all of it, it said Kelly Harper was afforded the possibility. I'm not quoting this. This is not quote for quote. I'm summing it up for you. Kelly Harper was afforded the opportunity to return as head coach with staff changes, but she declined. Why in the hell would we get upset about Kim Caldwell not retaining staff members from a previous staff who, frankly, Kelly Harper would still have her job if she would have canned? I don't know if it was all of them. I don't know if it was just her husband. I cannot imagine the decision that goes in that. Trust me, I can't. But I have to, it says not a staff change, but changes. I have to imagine that was more than one. One of the coaches is becoming head coach at Stony Brook. What about the rest? The one that we're all in an uproar about from Ball Out Sports and their slanted, provocative, provoked, opinionated article. Who's to say this recruiting coordinator that a lot of people on Twitter had no clue who she was until she was let go. They just wanted to complain. Who's to say she wasn't one of them that Danny White wanted released? If Danny White, it's been said before, athletic directors really want assistant coaches to be kept. If Danny White wanted Samantha Williams to be kept, I think he would have probably put up a fight for that. You let a new coach come in and do their thing. It's not rocket science. Um, I've had comments on here. Well, Danny White promised the home run hire. How do you know this isn't? I'll counter that. I'm going to play devil's advocate. I've seen it that, well, um, I've said this. I said, because it's not in the family, people were upset. And I've said, well, no, the fans didn't say anything about being a Lady Vol. They said the names Dawn Staley and Kim Mulkey. Here's the problem. If that was your expectations out of the gate, you set yourself up for disappointment because it was unrealistic. And those two were not leaving their current programs where they're doing awesome things to come to Knoxville, which is in a rebuilding stage. Yeah, this team's made the tournament. Make no mistake about it. Some of you pointed out in the chat, in the messages. Kim Caldwell and her staff have work to do. All right. They have work to do. Not their fault. They're taking over a program that has not been recruited greatly, but they did get a win tonight. They got a big win tonight. Jewel Spear announces she is returning for her last year. That was a big win. She could have left and hit the portal. Coach Caldwell has talked to her. She's talked her into staying in the program. It's a big win for this program. Now, Coach Caldwell and his staff, it's time for them to go out, do their thing, and show what they have. I've only talked about the two guys that were hired. Coach Caldwell brought with her two of her assistants from Marshall. Burdette comes to Knoxville, 5 years of experience as an assistant. I'm reading from utsports.com. 3 seasons working with Kim Caldwell at Glenville State and Marshall. Their overall record during that time, 114-42, 58-34 the last 3 seasons at Marshall, and then at 2 seasons at Glenville State. Also, and Burdette just graduated in 2018. She's a young lady, so she's going to provide that younger option to the staff. I think that's a good thing. Reiser also joins the staff, experience working with Caldwell, assistant last year at Marshall, and it was a record-setting year for Marshall. I've had at least a Marshall fan spoke highly of Kim Caldwell, hated to see her go, says, I will be a fan of your program because of Kim Caldwell. I think that's pretty high praise myself. It's not always easy. I guess it's different, maybe. But, somebody left Tennessee as a coach to take another as an assistant. Yes, you think of Alex Golish with football, left Josh Heupel's staff to take the head coaching position at South Florida. I think there's a lot of UT fans or Alex Golish fans and wanting him to do well. I get that. Josh Heupel leaves from another job. They may not think that because, frankly, with football, maybe there's upgrading programs in the grand scheme of things. As a Tennessee fan base, as diehard Tennessees, we see no upgrade other than Tennessee. May not be true, may be true, but still the same thing. Marshall to the Lady Vols. Listen, it's no disrespect to Marshall. Kim Caldwell grew up in West Virginia, played ball in West Virginia. I don't know that she leaves for just any job, but the Lady Vols coaching job is a premier job. Unfortunately, it has not been treated that because we've accepted mediocrity. We've accepted mediocrity. I've gotten to the point I could give a shit about it. Frank Rock's back on board. Frank Rock is in this because I don't say that lightly. I'm not a Lady Vols connoisseur, but it also got to the point I know what's going to happen. I know it's going that way. The fan base, the admin prior to who we have now had accepted mediocrity. Hats off to Danny White and company for making a change. We'll see how it goes. All right. The proof is going to be in the pudding. Results are going to matter. Okay. At a program like Tennessee, you don't get a freebie. There's no year zero bullshit like Derek Dooley come up with years ago. When you come to Tennessee, you take the job, you're on the clock. It is then your players. It's not someone else's, it's yours. You inherit them. It's your job to develop them, get them to that next level, make them play up to their abilities. Bruce Pearl, when he come here and took over the job, didn't complain about taking over Buzz Peterson's recruits. He elevated them to a number 2 seed in his first year with a massive overachievement. I'm not real fond of Bruce Pearl. I'm definitely not fond of his pompous boy. But let's make no mistake about it. Tennessee basketball is not where it's at right now without Bruce Pearl. I'm grateful to him for what he has done down there. It is time for someone else to take this Lady Vols program. We just had 2 within the family who gave their all. Were they bad? No. At a lot of programs, they're still coaching. Holly and Kelly. That's acceptable at a lot of programs. It's not acceptable in Knoxville. Danny White is trying to rectify that situation. Kim Caldwell has gone out, hired 2 SEC guys with experience. She has a diverse staff. So if we're bitching and moaning about diversity on staff, look at all 4 assistants. You have a different race and culture out of all 4 of them. I'm not going that road, but I will say that if you're going to complain about this or that, man, woman, race, culture, what have you, Kim Caldwell's satisfied all of it. All right? You can't complain when you have it all on there. I'm going to wrap up on that one. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for helping drive the channel. This thing has like increased tremendously over the last 2 days. It's crazy. Y'all are awesome. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe. Frank Rock, House of Orange. Last but not least, go Lady Vols.